What's up, guys? It's week 2, and we're all feeling excellent, I'm sure. Because the Bills, they came out last week, they took care of business, and they're 1-0. Who would have thunk? I mean, most people didn't think they'd win, let alone by 34 points. I picked them to lose. Like I said, I like being wrong in that case. I mean, there's so many positives to take out of that game, I don't even really know where to start. Fitzpatrick played unbelievable. Jackson ran the ball extremely well. The offensive line, I think that might have been it. Like, that's the part people are overlooking, is how well the offensive line actually played. Fitz only got sacked once by Hali, who is an outstanding player, so I'm not even really upset about that. No turnovers except for the Brad Smith interception, which I don't really care about. Personally, I think they did that just to show future teams that they play that Brad Smith will throw out of that formation, that he's not in there just as a wildcat, running back type of situation. But line played great. Jackson ran well. Receivers played well. We finally used the tight end, Scott Chandler. Don't get so... be excited, sure. But don't be like, oh my God, we finally have a tight end after 1 week. Let's see if it, carries over into the rest of the season. Because I'm not ready to say that he's going to be, the next whatever. Tony Gonzalez. But that's like the best tight end ever. So he's not ready to be like the next, I don't even know, Dustin Keller type of player. Rob Gronkowski. Can't believe I just gave that guy a shout out. Because he's from Buffalo, that's why. But anyway, defense played outstanding. I think KC might have done the Bills a bit of a favor by only running Charles, 10 times? Thank you. First of all, he fumbled once too. The only touchdown was the pass to Charles that I'm not sure if Aaron Williams was baiting Castle. But man, that looked, it was a split second away from Aaron Williams going back for 6 the other way. But all that said, Bills played well. I mean, they got pressure from, Brian Scott made sacks. I think, had a sack. Spencer Johnson had a sack. Darius was in there a little bit. He looked like he struggled a bit to start off, but sort of came into his own. Merriman didn't do anything. Didn't need him to. I thought Barnett looked pretty good in coverage and against the run. Andre Davis didn't do anything, but that's fine. Sometimes that's better. That means the defensive line is doing their job, or these safeties are coming up. Because there were no huge runs. I think Charles had a 22-yard carry, so some secondaries making that tackle. But, you want your linebackers to make tackles, obviously, but maybe that means that they just weren't getting the opportunity because the defensive line played so well. You would think that would be the case, considering we won 41-7. I mean, Castle looked awful. Just awful. Little concerned about the Terrence McGee injury. I mean, come on. This guy gets hurt after one play on defense. I mean, he's made of glass. Like him, he's a good player, but he's made of glass. Anyway, we signed Reggie Cornerback. He struggled in the preseason, but I think, Florence McKelvin will start with Aaron Williams in the slot, and then you'll see some corner and some Denoris Searcy, in the dime packages. Robert Edens, Tyr. Sorry if anyone really liked him coming out of camp. I mean, he played pretty well, I thought, but we won't be discussing him too much anymore. Marcus Easley to IR. That was the surprising thing to me. Feels so bad for that guy. Misses his first 2 seasons, had a promising preseason this year. And I heard it was like a heart condition or something, so I hope it's not, I don't know, I hope that can get resolved. because I think he's got a lot of talent that the Bills can use. Ruvel Martin's back. Kind of surprised about that, seeing as how Naaman's on the practice squad. They had him last year, but it is what it is. Hey, we scored 41 points, so without Marcus easily. You know, let's be happy right now. Got the Raiders this week. Raiders coming off a short week. They played on Monday Night Football against Denver. They won. But, you know, like I said, short week. They got to come from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast. So I think I read that they were 2-7 in East Coast games since 2007, I believe. So that's kind of an encouraging statistic. We know who the Raiders are, pretty much. I'll tell you what they're going to do. Of course, this is, I guess, what we thought Kansas City was going to do is just run Charles. But I think Oakland's smarter than that. They're going to, because they just did it to Denver. They're going to give the ball to McFadden and essentially just say, here he is. Now stop him. And we'll really find out how good the Bills' run defense is or how improved it is from last season. I don't think Jason Campbell's anything to brag about at all. I mean, make him beat you if you can. And if he does, he does. But, like I said, he's just not that good of a quarterback, I don't think. Raiders will be in the market for probably one of those California guys. Look, not because they're bad, but I think they might want to, trade up, or I don't know how long they're going to be trying to acquire veterans before they finally try to pick their guy. I know Jamarcus Russell failed, but the Raiders, to me, are only a couple pieces away from being significant contenders. They went 6-0 in their division last year and 2-8 against the rest of the league. Their defensive line is good. Tommy Kelly, Richard Seymour. Linebackers are good. Rolando McClain looks pretty good. Tyvon Branch, Stanford Route in the secondary. Their secondary is definitely weaker without Osmaw. Definitely weaker, so I think Fitz can still have a pretty good day. It's really going to be how that line shows up again. If the line, is the line going to be this consistent all year long? God, I hope so. Because if they are, the Bills might be able to make some noise in the league. I mean, they're 27th in the power rankings right now. The Bills win 41-7, score the second most amount of points next to the defending Super Bowl champions, have the largest margin of victory at 34 points. They are on the road at Arrowhead, which is designed to generate crowd noise, in one of the hardest places to play in the league, against the defending AFC West champions, one of the best running backs in the league, a guy who averaged like 6 yards a carry last year. And the Bills jump up from 30th to 27th. That's fine. That's fine. I'll fly under the radar. Fine by me. Who wants all the media love? Remember when we were getting all the media love before? Trent Edwards, possible MVP talk when the Bills were 5-1. Yeah, what happened to that? Regardless, another cool stat. Reddit, thank you, Chris Brown, or whoever found it. Fitzpatrick is one of 2 quarterbacks to have 3, dating back to last season, to have 3 4-touchdown games. And the other is Tom Brady. So that's pretty good. He's done all 3 of those on the road, at Baltimore, at Cincinnati, at Kansas City. So I'd like to see one at home, preferably this week. But I don't know. It's tough to get a read because how are the Bills going to do against McFadden? We didn't get a... Charles still had 56 yards on 10 carries. So that's still over 5 yards a carry. They just didn't give him the ball. I know McFadden's going to get the ball a lot because that's what the Raiders do. They like to run the ball. They know who they are. Hugh Jackson, I don't know how good of a coach he is, but he seems to have that team going in maybe the right direction. I don't think Denver's that good, but Mile High is not a tough place to play against a divisional opponent in the rain. I thought the Raiders played pretty well. Gave them a heavy dose of McFadden, and I think the Bills are going to see the same thing. Will the Bills stop it? Will the offense be as consistent as it was last week? It means that, the Bills are 5-4 in their last 9 games. They're 5-3 in the last 8 games Fitzpatrick has started. Because let's not count that Jets game last year. That was a joke and a half, Brian Brom. So, the Bills, you know what? Maybe I'm, jinxing them. I don't really believe in that. I have no effect on the game. But I'm going to pick the Bills to win. The Bills over the Oakland Raiders. Ha ha ha. Come on, all the Raider fans. God, they're vicious. Anyway, Bills over the Raiders. I'm going to say it's going to be close. I'm going to pick something obscure. 26-21. There you go. Bills over Raiders 26-21. Guys, if you came this far, over 11 minutes, I know these videos are just longer. Getting longer over last year, but I hope you're enjoying them at least. Like I said, follow me on Twitter. It's the same as my username, as always. It's right there. Add me on Facebook if you want. My name's Greg. And we'll talk Bills football whenever you want, all right? But it's week 2. The Bills are 1-0. Trying to make some noise before New England comes to town. That'll be a hell of a time. Anyway, guys, thanks again. Enjoy your weekend, and go Bills.